Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be in time, space, and the universe. Well, this might be the last podcast I do in this dimension, or something like it, right? It looks like the world's gearing up for April the 8th, 2024. I personally am super stoked about it. Just like everyone else. I mean, yeah, I'm not making fun of it. I'm making fun of myself. No, I'm making fun of everything. It's satyr. It's satirism. Satirical. I love when you find words that fit to other words, like satirizing something. It's like it's so funny when people talk trash on astrology and mythology when that is the foundation for everything. From the highest to the lowest of things. Yes, I know what a mythological satyr is, Mythyw myth, you jerk. No, but do you? Like, why don't we think, I feel like I'm always trying to integrate these things by talking about it. What am I really doing to integrate it myself? It's like these little unconscious habits that I've accumulated. Certain colors of shirts on certain days, certain types of underwear on certain nights. It's a delicate process, understanding mythology and stuff, and it is a process of yourself. I'm always thinking, why am I doing this? Why do I share what I'm thinking with anyone? Responses vary up and down. I'm interested in the analytics of ideas that I present to people. So I've found a way to enjoy presenting something creative, but also kind of reflecting something back. And without overanalyzing it, which I tend to do very often. Hopefully you don't, because, life's too short for that, but we usually do. Hey, it's life, and we're going to have some fun. I've been wondering what theory you have for this eclipse coming up. What do you think? Maybe actually, comment, make a burner account if you think I know you and you don't want me to see your response, or if you're brave enough to interact with this fool. It was just recently April Fool's, so I can say that for now, but what then? I think, usually every April, if I do a podcast near April Fool's time, I'll talk about, the change of calendars to the Gregorian in 1548 or something. I just read that actually in a meme the other day, so it could be wrong. I double-checked it a long time ago. It seems like it's the same meme as before. Not saying my entire life is based off of meme history, but, it's like a marker. You go, oh, well, let me look into that. And then you think, well, that's what the internet says. Let me go back to the books. And then you go back, oh, this book came before that book. Before you know it, you trace it all back, and it's just someone that wrote a story. It's all just a story. Personally, I have no idea what to believe. I'm kind of leaving it open. I'm leaving it open to something miraculous, miracles, power, breakthrough, attitude. It's something that we long for and we ask for, and it comes to us like everything else. Eventually it advances on us, it comes forward. The enticing thing with the eclipse is that you want to look at it. They sell these glasses, this thing's probably doing work. It's probably something that you could probably take. It seems like it looks like it has the same quality as the lens you'd use when you go to the 3D movie theater, like, wear your 3D glasses, it's solar eclipse. So what they should do is film it and then bring it in a theater and then make it 3D. That'd be great. The 3D solar eclipse live featuring the Philharmonic. At your local harmonic symphony orchestra, symphony orchestra, I don't know. I had to, gear up and have some fun myself, what would you gear up for? I never even heard that term, and I always use it, as more or less not taking it seriously. After watching that movie, Zombieland, that movie was pretty funny. You can't go wrong with Woody Harrelson. Jesse Eisenberg or whatever, Heisenberg Jr., freaking Cupcake, whatever, goes along with the theme of talking out of my ass. No, I'm just really curious what ideas that people have, There's one complaint I have about podcasts is that it's cool seeing people on different platforms respond to different ideas, but I'm not really hearing much of what they think about things. I'm glad that people obviously think about it, because it seems like people exist. I mean, I've always approached this like I'm really only talking to myself. And I've heard so many different types of podcasts and how each person approaches it differently. That's the interesting thing. But really, it's all just one thing. That's why I don't like being pigeonholed. So I decided that my podcast was going to be about what I'm doing, rather than me trying to curate and what just, kind of like a moment to be journalistic. This is like the in-depth version. You get to hear into my mind. With my Myth TV, the idea is that it's a template for the ideas of things, the vehicles, the landscapes of our minds. And, pretty much I think that everyone, it's kind of like vlogging, but in a certain manner, you could say. Though I feel like, I don't know, like maybe it's just because I'm a guy and I'd rather see a woman do it personally. Vloggers, it seems fun. I like video journaling is amazing. That's my conflict with film and video since I've been a child, thinking about performance and creative ventures my whole life. It's more like the amazing thing about film is that you get to create something in the moment, and it lasts, and it's so close to life itself. And I used to think of it in terms of film being close to life because you're watching people on the screen, but that's actually not the dimension I was thinking of. What I was missing is that it's a lot like life in the sense that it only lasts as long as someone's aware that it exists. So if I create something, that film will live on after my death or something. If I was like, David Lynch or something, he creates a great film, people remember it for a long time, he eventually dies. Not too soon, hopefully, but when he reaches that pinnacle, you've seen it with different types of artists over the years. Their artwork, the art lives on in our minds, and we keep them alive in this world because it's being held inside of our minds. It's alive in this world because of us. And as Ray Manzarek said, they say if you speak the name of someone, it means they are still alive. So, you're bringing their energy back into this world. And with film, it's amazing how you can record something and it lasts, but at some point, film degrades, a DVD can be scratched. And the funniest thing about humans is that the cleanest form of data, storage that we have is that it's, the clean and pure digital cloud. But the funny thing is that it could be wiped out and lost way easier than it would be to, having just one copy of something is a treasure. But when you have, like, that's the amazing thing about great music, is that with mass production, there are these artifacts of art everywhere. There'll always be like a Beatles record or something, if it wasn't destroyed at that one time, and then there's always a Beatles record, or Led Zeppelin record or something that's going to be in someone's house, or going to be somewhere. And even if, like, we go to like World War III, and if everything isn't completely destroyed, even in the farthest, strangest reaches, there's going to be like an African tribe, and they'll be like, we have this deity, and it's just like Meet the Beatles or something. The faces that come through the dark. Yeah, that was a weird album cover. I think this is the second one, right? It's just the faces of the Beatles with this like very Art Nouveau or whatever. Very who's that French director? That that's me. That's what that was. Rubber Soul was pretty nice. And well, anyways, I thank you for listening and tuning into my Myth TV from time to time. This is more the journalistic aspect of where we're at with Mythyw Myth. I mean, it's been a fun ride. I'm hoping, I'll see you on the other side of whatever comes on the eclipse of April 8th, 2024. I'm really hoping to make a track, like a meditation track, for the 8th. I'm going to be working on that. And I'm going to put a shamanic intention into a music track that's got some music to it, and I'll release that the morning before that. So I gotta remember to release it once I make it, but that's my goal, that's my intention. One of my best friend was saying that this was a time when the infamous and notorious and glorious I don't know, I think a lot of people interested in the abstract world have heard of Aleister Crowley, and I'll take it or leave the guy. One of my friends once said, like, oh, it seemed like the guy was just trying to start another cult or something, and I think that's part of the idea, and maybe the good in some things get tainted, just like religion. Christianity, the origins of Christianity, which lingered near the Mithraism and worship of Mithras and training your astral body. That it's proven in ancient culture that the people that came before this one, civilizations before this, before Christianity was prevalent in the form it is now, that was kind of hijacked. They hijacked Christianity. And in Mithraism, they were all about using these stone sarcophagus to practice astral projection. And they weren't doing it in like a sense of a witch. The Wiccans would practice different means of practicing that as well. All forms of magic are magic. And that's what's so ironic. Until you realize that, you're part of the masses. You're part of, and then you end up separating, and you'll be on the fringe, and that's an interesting place to be. It's a beautiful thing. It's incredible. That's what you are. Oh, I've cotton mouth, so sorry, I can't croon you too well right now. Had some really good coffee drink, but it's like it had like a little too much extra mocha cream or something added to it, and it's just like drinking a chocolate shake. So it's It's not that. Oh, geez. Almost knocked over the lamp. Alright. So, I did have some regular bullet points I wanted to talk about aside from the eclipse. Though I do still wonder, what do you think is going to happen? Some people are saying that Jesus himself is going to come down and light up the world. I don't know. That'd be cool if he does, and he just punches me in the face and, get a picture of that. Put that on film so that it will last beyond my reckoning. And, so anyways, like my friend was saying, though, about the Aleister Crowley thing, he was saying that, that was the time when Crowley contacted his holy guardian angel. And who wouldn't love to talk to some form of their higher self? Or at least, some people will write it off and go, it was a hallucination. Well, if someone says that they experienced something and they're being totally genuine, you gotta take it as they're being totally honest with you and not just bullshitting you and creating a fantasy story. If you look at it from that perspective, I've experienced some shit. That made me question life and a lot of things. And then suddenly I'll be like, it's like right when I figure out, or right when I have a clarity moment, then I'm like, it's like a gumball spiraling down to the end of the thing. Then I'm back at like another, like, okay, you completed that. Now you're starting here and you take that trip. And it's been a wild ride, I'll tell you that. And a lot of things have come to pass that were, in a sense, things I intended or predicted or didn't expect, or really realized that, okay, I knew this was part of the deal. This is part of the responsibility of these things. And sometimes, when we really want something, we're willing to sacrifice anything we can for it. And it's not until you live after that fact that you go, wow, I did get those things. Maybe not how I precisely intended or what it meant to me, but it still is there. Other people might not all see it. But there's things that we sacrifice every day that no one knows about. We live in a time, of course, where people love to brag about those things. So it's kind of a strange time because you look like, it's like you can't prove it unless you do it. You have to hope that someone randomly sees you. Now people are just like, fuck that. I don't care if someone doesn't see me. I'm just gonna do it. So we're battling the ability of full-blown ignorance is bliss to really take hold in a major way. Because if the majority of people all think in a certain manner, we're going to see that reflected in life and things like that. And I think about, the people that, as these prices go up around us, I think about all the days that I worked. And there's people who've worked way harder and way more than me, and I still feel like I worked hard and a lot, but I know that there's people that there'll always be someone who's gone through more shit, and that's why I really try not to judge myself starting there and move outward, try to enact that when I can, because there's moments to assert yourself, and then there's moments to kind of sit back and watch what's happening, right? We gotta choose how we respond. Most of the things in life are people that are just responding without thinking about it. And I'm guilty too, but being aware of that is the first step, And I think about all the hard work and how ironic it is that people don't even want to work now. It's not like it used to be. The idea of work smarter, not harder has gone to the point where people who are only qualified or would only be doing certain types of jobs don't even want to do that. They still want to, that's why it's all about, attention and claims to fame, right? And you hope that people can see through it, but sometimes it works. So congratulations. You faked it. You maked it. And hey, I mean, I wouldn't, I love a little dumb luck myself sometimes. And the funny thing is that after, when you let go of that bullshit and you say, I'm just going to do hard work, things, you realize it doesn't even matter about for me, like I'm enjoying being free in more ways than I used to be. And I try to appreciate that. I've been through a long time where I didn't stop to smell the roses, and appreciate the things that I had and the things that I had, made or taken or given. And, you can't put a price tag on time. I mean, ironically, we get paid for our time, but if someone asks, no, anyways, I always think of that term, oh, they've never, you don't know what it's like to do an honest day's work. And it's true, some people will never know what it's like to do an honest day's work. But then I think about it and I go, that's such a shit term, like the fact that we have to take pride in working hard. That there really is no choice. We have to work hard. Life is difficult. And that's what makes it beautiful too. But then there's always, it always interests me when I see people who've made it on their own merit and have a lot of something, like money or something, and how they react to people that also have a lot of money. Like, I don't give a fuck about that person. Like, that shit was given to them, And it's something that we have to think about for ourselves is, what have we done for ourselves? What have we done for others? What have we done with our time? And it's never late. It's never too late to redeem ourselves. Another friend of mine who is a pretty good Reiki practitioner, her and I had a conversation one time about going back in time in your mind, in your imagination, and using that method of going in and giving that 5-year-old self a hug. Going in and I tell you, when you do those things, when you put yourself there and you make it happen, forgive your parent for being an asshole. Just, let it go. Or something, a friend, and, the kid that stole that pack of gum in first grade and had a giant wad of gum in his mouth. He wanted to just, when you watch the teacher squeeze all the gum that you'd saved in this for that end of day, for the after school program, to chew that gum and to see it all wasted. Those kinds of memories, as ridiculous as the weird things that we remember, sometimes if we can go back in that moment, what would I do in that moment? Well, actually, I look back on it now, it's hilarious. So there are things that are obviously not so easy to get over. But if we can go back, imagine, like, say, like a parent does something, like abuses a child or something cruel, like seriously abuses, like with the intention of hurting her, out of rage or something. And imagine, there's always that moment after a traumatic event where you feel like you're left alone. That person, like, leaves you in that state of trauma, right? If you can go back in your mind now, you go back to that time and you imagine from both perspectives, yourself as a little kid, like, what's wrong, and it's yourself now saying, what, you're gonna survive past this. You're gonna actually overcome things that are even greater, and the most difficult things that you did will seem the easiest, and the most difficult things that happened you're not gonna even realize, and the things that are very simple are gonna seem really difficult and crazy and bizarre and strange at times, but that's just how it is. And you're not always going to remember this moment where you were able to process that it is just a moment in time, and you are directly emotionally experiencing this. You are a fractal of the universe experiencing an emotional moment in the form of a human being. And not only that, but that you are being told to identify as this person, when in reality, from the perspective of the universe, time is more like the way film is, like an actor or a character just expressing itself in that moment in time. It's the same thing. That's why they say, the world is a stage. Well, that's what it means. It's a universal thing, really. It's cosmic. The world is a stage. So I say, fuck an honest day's work. Work, fuck the term, fuck the terms of things, We're just worming our way through time with our minds, and I'm okay with that now. I'm okay with worming my way in the dirt of life, because that's where the nutrients are. That's what we're here for. That's why humans are like the chrysalis. We're more like worms in the dirt, That's the worm's chrysalis, What does the worm turn into? Well, it fucking goes back to something. So, wherever that goes, who knows? So fucking honest day's work. Fucking bookworm that shit. Hopefully this eclipse season there's a lot going on with this month, so hopefully, put the intention of change. And that, to go back, that was the whole Crowley thing, is that my friend was like, remember that dream where you were like levitating? I was in this dream and I was like, wait, like I could use my mind to levitate. And I was like, well, I should start meditating on that feeling, right? Like, what did that feel like? Let me go back, because whoever I was in that moment in the dream, whatever eyes I was looking out of, I was that person, and I was able to levitate. And it felt real as my life, Though I knew I was in this sort of dreamlike world. But perhaps that's the whole point of the absurd, is that in order to break our bindings in this dimension, we have to kind of be so abstract, so bizarre, that we literally break the limitations of the physical and the mental. And that's what's amazing about life, is that our greatest parts come from, they all come from our darkest experiences in life. That's what makes us who we are. I'll see all the while that we are just living as a slice of life. And someone, might say that my theory, this universal theory that I have been slowly unraveling for us, for you and myself, for the past few weeks and months, what I'm starting to realize is that, maybe, I'm aware that there's a possibility that it's a coping idea for escapism or something. But I feel like clear as day. Like I don't feel the need to smoke as much weed. I don't feel the need to drink as much alcohol, which would in turn at times make me smoke cigarettes. Like, I'm not saying I'm a guru or great or God or Jesus or Mary or Joseph, but there's a certain point where I've reached a certain limit, and I feel like there's something that's coming, that's breaking through, and we have to break through, break on through to the other side. It's always there. That's all they were trying to say. There's only so much time that we have left to say or do anything. What are you gonna do with this eclipse time? We gotta focus, harness all this energy, try to levitate your heart and soul. Do it with me. We can achieve anything if we put our minds to it. Light, love, and believe. Let's do it.